Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today we've got another weekly analysis for you. On the screen of the pairs will be analyzed today, but try to stay to the end of the video because I will be breaking down each pair, analyzing what happened this week and obviously forecasting the next. So try to stay to the end of the video for that. But for that said, guys, let's get straight into that. Okay, so up first, like usual, Euro USD. So this week, not too much has happened. You can see pretty much this is the price action for the past few days for Euro USD. So not much. Price is struggling to break through this barrier of support and resistance. I was looking for the market to go and break through this and tap into some areas here, just above the 1.09 area. And I did hand out two areas where we could look to buy Euro USD this week, one being this support, which you can see the market did hold, and obviously this one down here, but we didn't actually come and retest this. But since Euro USD is having such a tough time to break this barrier here, and I still do have some downside targets for Euro USD, I still do think we can go and take out this monthly wick here, which we've come so close to taking out. If I was to drop on the low time frames and go to the daily, you can see how close we've come to taking out that wick. And I still do believe we're gonna eventually come and take out this wick and see some lows past that point, maybe head all the way down to that big psychological level of 1.000. But it's up to you, it's up to your USD. We could have a bigger pullback because we still are trading at that monthly support, or we could just go and take out those lows now and get it over and done with. But since we are having a hard time breaking through this area, first time coming to retest this as resistance, and we also do have this trend line that potentially could be acting as resistance, yet hasn't quite come into play just yet. But if you can hold this area, look for another lower high, I do think we can see some downside next week for Euro USD. Dropping into the full H time frame, this potentially could be the next lower high. It's not confirmed yet, of course, but potentially could be. So as long as the price does not go and take out these highs, or at least take out and break and retest those highs, we could get a fake out, of course. That's completely fine, but if we start breaking through and use it as support, then yeah, the market will head higher. But I do have a bearish bias for Euro USD as long as we stay underneath this level, which is around the 1.07600, 1.07800 area. So I am looking at shorts for Euro USD now, back down into the same support which we held towards the end of this week. But I do think we can head past that and come into that second area which I gave out last week, into this area of support and resistance, which we didn't actually get a retest of as well. So extra incentive for the market to head lower. So Euro USD, I'm looking at some more downside for this one, back down to 1.05800 if we can hold this level here. So yeah, Euro USD bearish bias, looking for more downside for next week. Okay, so next up we've got USD JPY. So for this pair, big moves to the upside this week. In fact, pretty much all the JPY pairs, we did see a lot of upside momentum for those pairs. JPY weakness across all pairs really. But yeah, USD JPY looking strong. Coming into the week, we were looking to see if we can hold our key zone in 4H and our key trend line as well as resistance. And I said if we can maintain these areas, and looking for a rollover down to 125. But if we break above, which we, as you can see, we did, had a nice little retest, and this for the level I was looking at, 129,500, which we just had a retest of just now, and prices pushed pretty strong off the back of that. So USD JPY very bullish. Sellers didn't hold, buyers broke through that, and we are looking very bullish, and indeed for the higher time frames as well. Weekly, monthly momentum is still very much on the bullish side of things. And on the higher time frames monthly, I still do have a higher time frame target, near enough around the 135 mark, 134,682, coming to those highs there on the left. I still do see the market heading higher into that level, into that area. So USD JPY coming into next week, again, main focus will be these highs here, because we haven't yet created new highs. The market has potentially formed a higher low. Again, it's got the characteristics of a higher low, but we haven't actually seen some new highs yet. So anticipating that to be the next higher low. But I'm expecting the market to break through this, retest, and then we can get some buys. I'm looking at 133, potentially 135. I'm not too sure if we'll do that within 1 week. But next psychological level, we've got 132, 133. So those are the levels we'll be taking. Reason being, look to the left, there's literally, you know, not much there to look at. As you can see, we haven't been trading these prices for a very long time. And my target's still up there at 134,682. So USD looking for the break higher. I'm still expecting market to push through higher. Do have this level here as well, so if you do come back and retest it, that could be a nice place to go long as well. Again, targets higher, well, depending how far you want to take it. If you do look for longs here, first target does have to be that level, but I do see us going a lot higher if we can keep up this momentum. So yeah, USD expecting price to push higher. You can look at 133 this week, but those will be my targets for the swing opportunity, and the exact same for these lows here. But again, do have to manage this trade closely, because there's a chance that the market could push down, respect that, and roll over. But if we can see a break, you know, there's a pretty high probability we'll keep that momentum going to that 134 area. So that is the plan next week for USD. You can look to take targets at the psychological levels, 132, 133, 134. But I do have those targets at 134,682 for USD. Okay, so now on to USD CAD. So USD CAD was actually quite bearish this week, as you can see. We had targets back at this resistance turn support. We didn't get the retest of this level when we did have that breakout. So I was looking for the market to come back into this level, and we came here pretty much on Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Monday, yeah. We just dropped and hit that level. Was looking for some retracement for the next lower high in reference to those swing points up there. For some more sells, but the market just opened up bearish and just went and hit that target. And as you can see, has obviously traded past that. Now for USD CAD, I'm still analyzing USD CAD, mapping out where potentially I think price could go next, but I need a little bit more information, you know, before I call the next swing for USD CAD. On the higher time frames, we are coming up into an interesting area because of what USD CAD has been doing. It has been making some higher highs and higher lows. You can see it better on the daily here. So you've got the low up there, got the high, got the swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high. So you can see it's a very kind of sloppy, you know, choppy uptrend here for USD CAD, and typically is a very corrective pair. We're coming back into that area again where potentially we could be seeing another bullish swing, or, you know, a reversal if we snap through this and form some lower lows. But there is a good probability that coming into this area we will likely see a bounce. You know, whether we'll see the full swing back to the highs or just a little push for the break, it is unknown yet. That's why I said I need a bit more information before I can plan my next swing for USD CAD. But there's likely we will see a bounce to the upside for USD CAD next week. Again, not looking at anything too crazy. There are a couple areas we can look to target, one being this resistance here, 1.26800, and potentially these swings here on the left as well, to come back and retest that, because this is where the market opened up and it hasn't come back to retest that area yet. So we could see USD CAD come into those areas before maybe downside, or if it does want to see another bullish swing, fly to the upside. But I'm looking at some buys from around this area, 1.25400, 1.25500, nice cycle level. Again, the market's not trading at this area yet, so I have no idea how it can react. There's a chance we could obviously just melt straight through. If that's the case, we don't want to be taking trades. We want to see the market at least form some equal lows, potentially a higher low, before we can stick some buys on, then get involved. And those will be our targets there. But if you do melt through, just follow my hand and wait for the next setup to come around. But that's what I'm looking at for USD CAD. Looking at a slight move to the upside, because I just need a bit more information before I can plan my next swing for USD CAD. So some upside, expecting a bounce coming into a very key area for USD CAD, 1.125, targets at 1.26700 and 1.27100. So yeah, that's the plan next week for USD CAD.
Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but if you are enjoying the content and you find it useful, make sure you go hit the subscribe button down below, and also make sure you drop a like as well. It really does help the channel out. But anyway, back to the video.
Okay, now euro pound. So euro pound, still some more upside for this one. Again, we still got that break and retest on the weekly time frame, and the market is still holding above that trend line. So we're still expecting more upside from this one. Last week I said I wasn't completely sold on the upside move for euro pound because of all the wicks on the weekly. But as you can see, we've just gone to fill that this week, and the market still maintained above our level of resistance turn support. And the key thing as well is that we maintain the higher lows on the 4H time frame, and as you can see, the market is trading higher. So euro pound, I'm expecting the market to push higher. I've got targets back at these highs here on the left at 0.6200. That's what I'm looking for the market to go and take out. Higher time frames, I can see the market pushing higher. Do have the higher time frame targets up here for the real breakout. Still do see a bit more mileage on this one since we've been so corrective for the past like year and a half, maybe 385. So year and a bit we've been very corrective for euro pound. So expecting a breakout back up into those highs, but I'll take it step by step. Next target will be these highs here. Then we can look at some resistance here on the left as well at 0.86400, and then we've got the highs up there. But for next week, looking for those highs to be taken out. So there's two opportunities, two ways I'm looking to play this. We've got this trend line here building up all of these higher lows. Could see another drop to form another higher low, and then we can look for our longs there. So that is what I'll be looking at for euro pound. Or if we break through this resistance here, where you can see we've had a tough time breaking through, this is a bit of a fake out. Looking at a break of that resistance and a retest, and then get some longs, which is at 0.85700, we'll call it. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. Euro pound still maintaining these higher highs and higher lows. As you can see, really nice swing low there, formed that high, formed that low, formed that high, new low. Now expecting some new highs past this point here on our left. So yeah, if we fall back, form a higher low, we'll get involved there. Or if we break, retest again, anticipating the higher low, we'll get involved there as well for 0.85700. But for both trades, both opportunities, targets are back at these highs here, and then we've got a zone up there at 0.86400 as well we can look to target. But euro pound, only looking for longs for next week. Okay, so now AUD USD. So for this one, quite a bullish week, more upside, which was expected. The main area we're looking for AUD USD to get to was this weekly level resistance, which you can just about see we've tapped into with a bit of a pullback there, with this weekly candle closing there with a nice wick to the upside. So long term, still bearish on AUD USD. Still do have those lower lows and lower highs. And we pull back into this very key zone, and now we've got about 50% of this retracement as well. So from that high to that low, we've come just about into that 50% mark as well. So I'm looking at some downside, and targets will be at this 0.7 big psychological level, but technically just above 0.7 and 0.70231. But that's where I'm expecting the market to roll back over to. So looking for some lower highs now, or at least some equal highs back at this level here, because you can see the way the market is moving, and it is quite bullish, higher highs and higher lows continuously. And if we maintain that, you know, obviously the market could go higher. But if we start forming some equal highs, and most importantly, if we start forming some lower highs, then we can see that roll over and get involved in one of those highs or retest of that resistance there, that weekly resistance at 0.72700. We can also anticipate the market rolling over from that. But that's mainly what I'm looking at for USD. Short bias for the next week. Again, the market is still bullish, so keep that in mind. Don't just short it straight away, because you know it could definitely go higher. But if you do start to see some lower highs forming or some equal highs, we'll look to get involved there. And targets for this one, again, you can look to play the low swing, the high swing lows here as targets. If you don't look at the full target down there, you know, but as a swing trader, that's what I'll be looking at, 0.7200 down there. So AUD shorts looking good if we can hold this level. Not interested in buys at all really for AUD for next week, only focusing on shorts. Hopefully we can hold this level, and if we do, we'll be targeting down there at 0.70200 for next week. And now we're going to take a look at NZD CAD. So NZD CAD more downside this week. We did hold up onto that key level there. Well, it is that price swing low, but more importantly, if you're on the weekly time frame, you can see it's a very, very key level in the market. Strong support, bit of a, a catastrophe there. That was COVID there, so the market kind of faked the level. But essentially did hold for that big move to the upside, and now we're holding that resistance, as you can see, with that bearish weekly engulfing. I'm still expecting price going to take out this wick here, so more downside I'm expecting as long as we hold that level. So for NZD CAD, pretty much all the higher time frames are pointing down: monthly, weekly, daily, 4H, all pointing down. So from a swing point of view, there might be some short-term buys, of course, but from a swing point of view, the sellers are in control, and that's who we want to be trading with, the sellers. So hopefully we can get a pullback for this one, and it doesn't just melt to the downside as soon as the market opens. And then get a pullback. This is the level I'm looking at for some shorts. You can see the market tried to break through twice already. Looks like it will be the next lower high. And expecting more downside. You can also have a target at these lows here if you don't want to target that wick at 0.80920, but I'll be targeting down here at 0.880 there. And if we do break through this, as long as we don't break through the weekly zone, is really what I'm looking for, then I'm still bearish and looking for the market to come back down to those lows. So NZD CAD bearish on this one, back down to 0.8 is the direction of bias, the target. So more downside for NZD CAD for next week. So next up, we've got pound NZD. So for this one, more downside this week, which was expected. End targets really, or not end targets, major targets, major higher time frame targets we do have at 1.88, and I do see the market moving further, but for now we're just focused on the support here. So we've seen some nice downside this week, coming into a strong level of support. As you can see, previous wicks into this level, strong support. So there's either one or two things that could happen now for pound NZD. We could see a reaction, a bigger reaction to the upside, form a lower high in respect to that high up there, and then collapse, or we could just break through and then retest and keep going. So it's about staying reactive and not predicting that, because we could see that upside. Again, not really looking for bias for pound NZD. It is a nice place to buy, I do admit. But with my bearish bias and what I see happening on the higher time frames, if we do see some upside, we're most likely going to come right back down. So I'll just be waiting for the low high to form to short, or if we break through and then to short as well. So that's my kind of outlook for pound NZD. So we do have this trend line here, looking to see if we can hold this. We've got some nice low highs here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking for that next lower high and then the drop. Got a nice level here which the market came to retest, so maybe have a bit of a false break of that level coming to that trend line, so a bit of confidence there. It doesn't quite meet up, but generally this area, then targets back down there, or if you just go and break through the support straight away, same target, same bias as well, just looking for a different little opportunity there. But pound NZD for me, 1.88 is looking good. I'm not sure if we'll hit that next week, so there might be some levels here on the left you might want to look at to take partials at, or just close the trade completely at. I'm not too sure if we'll hit 1.88 next week, but if you don't do it next week, week after that, we probably will go and hit those lows there. So that's what I'm looking at for pound NZD. More shorts, not interested in any buys, looking for that next lower high. Nice opportunity at 1.93700, or if you can get that break and retest, 1.915 as well would look good, and targets at 1.88 for pound NZD. Okay, so CAD JPY, continuation to the upside this week. Price just rallied to the upside here, basically just continuing that higher time frame momentum which we've seen start of Feb, somewhere around there, and the market just stalled a little bit, had a breather, and still continuing to the upside. I still do have higher time frame targets for this rally, and I do think we can take out this wick there on the left at 106.564. We are coming to this monthly resistance here, so generally speaking, anywhere in this kind of wick area we could see some downside, but similar to what's happened for Euro USD, where I'm expecting a wick to be taken out, you know, we could find support or resistance in this case just before we take out the wick, see some downside, and then go and take it out. But generally speaking, as long as the market stays bullish and the structure is bullish, I'll always be looking for buyers to go and take out that wick. Then when we do see some reversal price action, we can react, adapt, and then take the reversals. But as you can see right now, there is no reversal happening. Coming into the week, I was telling you guys that if we break above this, we'll be looking for longs, especially if we go and take out this bearish structure, which we did pretty early in the week. Didn't quite see the pullback I wanted into this level. The market just rallied to the upside and now has taken out these highs. So looking for some retracement for CAD JPY to start the week off, but again, expect the market to head higher. We've got 105, nice psychological target to have there. We've blasted through, well, just come into 104 right there. We've got 105, 106, then we've got the target at 106.564. So just going to play it level by level. Now that we're trading above this level of resistance, it's now turned support. So hopefully we can see some retracement into this area, and we can look for long opportunities, because the market, you know, is kind of in need of some retracement now after that strong rally for just, you know, one whole week there, just of continuous bullish momentum. We'll be looking for push back to the highs if it does pull back from here, but targets at 105 and then 106. 106.564 is the plan. So yeah, USD JPY, we've already done that. CAD JPY looking very, very bullish, expecting this to continue. It'd be nice to see a break and retest for an opportunity there, because obviously looking to the left, there's not really much to work with. So hopefully we can get a pullback, look for that next higher low and targets there. Again, don't have to look for the targets up there if you don't want to. You can play it how you want to play it, but that's the swing I can see happening for CAD JPY for next week. And now we've got pound USD. So for this one, I was favoring some buys this week if we stay above 1.26, which is this level here. However, as you can see, we failed to do that, didn't hold it as support, really lost all that. Well, there isn't really much momentum there in the first place, but it's kind of just died, rolled over, and now we're seeing the market reject that level as resistance again. And the key thing about this level 1.26 is that we've got this huge gap here that the market could have gone to fill for pound USD, still could do of course, but it could have gone to go and fill this gap here, which we dropped from 1.3 and never saw the retracement back to go and fill those levels, especially come back and retest 1.3. But the fact that it's struggling to break through this previous lower high, looks like the pound USD could, looks like pound USD could get ready to roll over. Certainly if it does stay below 1.26, come back to these lows here, still bearish long term for pound USD as well. So yeah, pound USD, if we stay below 1.26, this could be a great place to look to short the pair. And again, targets for this one, we've got a nice zone here to work with, was resistance support there as well, and obviously the lows back there. So that's how I want to play pound USD. You know, the bears have, I wouldn't say have won the battle just yet, but they are definitely winning, certainly on the higher time frames. Looking at the monthly, weekly, daily, they are still definitely winning. 4H, if you can form some nice lower highs off the back of that, or some equal highs coming into there, we'll look to short from this zone at 1.26. Stop loss above that level or above the highs, depending on where you want to place your stop loss. And targets with this one back into this 1.24 area. Then we got 1.21700 down there as well. But pound USD got bearish bias. I would only look to buy pound USD if we get back above this. That's the only way I would look to buy it. If we do stay below, looking for sells, 1.24, 1.217 will be the target. So yeah, more downside next week for pound USD. Okay, pound CAD. So pound CAD melted to the downside this week, rejected these highs up here, which we were looking for the previous week. And then this week we broke through those higher lows there. Market failed to maintain that bullish momentum. I said once we break through this, we'll be looking for that lower high to form. Never really quite did on the 4H, maybe on the like 30 minute. Well, there's a lot of lower highs there, but we didn't really see that pullback that was after. Momentum just remained bearish. Had a slight pullback there, but the market, you know, is really taking out these lows here. So pound CAD really coming to those lows. We've taken out my monthly target, which was the wick here on the left. as you can see. So we smashed through that. We've seen quite a lot of momentum dropping out of that consolidation, which was expected when the market does consolidate for that long. Generally speaking, the bigger the breakout, we see really nice consolidation, massive breakout. So it's nothing we haven't seen before, but now I'm looking for the market to come back into the support here at 1.54634, so around the 1.54 strike level. It's where I'm expecting the market to head to. So for pound CAD, I'm looking for some retracement. Hopefully we can come back and retest that level of support now and resistance, and then head south. Nothing really is bullish at all in this pair. You just saw the monthly time frame, you see the weekly, daily, 4H, everything's bearish. So any longs for this one are going to be always a little bit risky. Maybe there might be some short-term buys if we get back above that zone, but that's the only way I would interest any buys at all, really. Otherwise, other than that, I'm only looking for sales for pound CAD. And now we're taking out this strong support. If you can use that as resistance, that would be great. And just see this bearish trend continue to 1.54 down there. So that will be the plan, or 1.54600, should clarify that. So yeah, pound CAD, more downside, higher time frame still pointing down, bearish structure, bearish momentum as well. Just broken that key low, that key support, hold that as resistance. We'll look for the next lower high, and then look to play some shorts, and again targets back down there at 1.54600. Okay, pound JPY upside this week. Again, another JPY pair flying to the upside. This one hasn't quite seen some higher highs yet. We've seen a lot of JPY pairs do that. This one is quite far away. You can see the highs all up there at 168.421, and we're trading at 163 right now. But yeah, I'm still seeing more upside for pound JPY. That was our buyers coming into the week. The market was trying to head lower. 1 attempt, 2 attempt, 3 attempts, failing to do so. As I said, for this one, when we do take out structure, especially these swing lows here, swing highs, sorry, once we take them out, we'll be looking for the break and retest, which did happen. Partial break and retest there, quick retest, and that one was looking for a little bit more to get involved, but we did essentially have the break and retest, and the market has flown to the upside there, looking quite bullish. So now they've had this strong rally, I'm looking for some retracement and the market to head higher. Having a really nice break and retest on the weekly time frame, really strong level there. Price is broken through, big wick to the downside, holding that level. So yeah, I'm expecting some more upside off the back of that. But we are coming into a nice level of resistance, sell zone here. You can see where all these wicks have collected previously, there as well on the left. We'll expect to see some downside, but I don't think it would be anything crazy. I think we'll quickly form that next higher low. Get on that bike again and start pushing back to those highs and join some other pound JPY pairs. So looking at some retracement areas, I'm looking at is this high up here, 160, not quite 162, so 161.800, and this level here, which is where we had the break and retest this week. So one of those two areas, looking back to essentially hold and then buy from. Potentially a break and retest of this zone here as well. If we don't see that, so there's a chance we could just open up bullish, and that could be the only opportunity we get to really get some nice buys in that one. So do be aware of the break and retest of 164, that zone. But hopefully we can see some downside, increase our risk to rewards, and the pips we can catch from the trade. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for pound JPY, some retracement, get involved, targets up there again, big targets, 700 pip target for these trades. So you don't have to look for that full swing, of course. You can look for push back to the zones here. There's some areas here you can look to aim for 165.400, come into this area which we haven't retested yet, 166.889. So there's a few areas we look to target, but the principle is that it looks like we're going to continue that higher time frame swing. So we're looking for the next higher low, to keep that momentum going, and obviously that break and retest of that zone is a nice opportunity to have as well. But that's what I'll be looking at for pound JPY, break and retest of 161.800 or 160.600, and then your targets back at highs for pound JPY. Okay, now on to gold. So gold this week, a little bit of mixed price action, seen some downside momentum, which we were expecting since we weren't breaking for 1870, but we've also seen a quick break to the upside. You can see that momentum kind of just turned on a dime there, and a big push to the upside there for gold. So gold, even though we are still trading below that key area of 1870, I'm actually favoring more of the buys now for gold, and I can see gold heading higher, and I will be looking for buys for gold for next week. We are still holding that higher time frame level on the weekly, which is this resistance here, which is turn support. Bit of a fake out there, which is what I'm going to consider these candles here. Close below, close straight back above. This week's candle tested that level and wicked into it and pulled back, which kind of explains why the market just kind of had that aggressive push. Again, fundamentals as well, but from a price action standpoint, it does make a lot of sense. So as long as we stay above this, I do think we will break through this 1870 area and head higher back to some areas up there, because from a long-term perspective, gold still does look as if it is in that bullish trend. It's a bit of a sloppy bullish trend, but I do believe as long as we respect this area, I do think gold will be trading back at these areas. If we crash straight through this, then yeah, I will change my bias. But for now, since we're still trading above that trend line, still throwing wicks to the downside, trading back above that key area at 1832, I am favoring gold to head higher. So for this one, price action for gold is not the best, but I will be looking at two areas for some longs. This area being one, and this area down here where we had that strong push as well will be another one. If we can break through this level here, then I will look to change my bias and target to the bottom of this wick here. So break and retest of 1832, we'll look for sales back down there. But for right now, I do have that bullish bias, and I'm looking for gold to head higher, and targets will be this support here. A lot of wicks to the downside and to the upside into 1912, we'll call it. But yeah, that is the zone I'll be targeting. So gold for me, more upside for next week. Again, price action isn't the best, so probably wait for some high lows to form before getting involved, because all in all, this is kind of consolidation there for gold. So not the best conditions to get involved, but from a higher time frame standpoint, it does look like the market is getting ready to head higher. So these are the long opportunities I'm looking at for next week for gold. 1844, 1845, and 1833. Buys from there back to that key daily zone at 1911, 1912. And last but definitely not least, we've got Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin, more the same really this week. We did see a sharp move to the upside, so it did look like at one point we can get that breakout to the upside, but we closed back in there. And Bitcoin's still struggling to see that bullish momentum, although we are still holding on to that higher time frame support. If we do look to the left, as you can see with all these wicks where price is collecting, well, have collected in the past, the market is still trading above that, but that doesn't really mean too much. We still do have all this bearish momentum and that bearish structure, and the buys are still failing. You can see this wick on the weekly candle here still does have a day and 7 hours left, but if it closes anything as it is looking right now, that's showing that the buyers are failing and we can still potentially head lower. But all in all, with consolidation, comes indecision. So truly speaking, don't really want to get involved in these areas. Yes, there might be some nice opportunities in the lower time frames. There could be a nice buy, or could be a nice buy from this level of support, 28,782, back up to maybe this area here. More of a kind of intra-week, intra-day kind of level up there. So there could be some nice buys from that. But for the next swing of Bitcoin, we do need to see Bitcoin make its move first, break the highs, break the lows, and then we can truly know where it's going. Get on a pullback and a retest of the consolidation and take advantage of a much simpler and more high probability opportunity than get involved in that consolidation, which doesn't make too much sense. I'm not saying there won't be any opportunities they can't profit from, but for the bigger move, you definitely want to see price break out first, and then yeah, simply trade in that direction it breaks out to, if we can get a pullback, of course. But I'm still looking at these major swing points here. So that prior swing there at 19,684, if you break to the downside, that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin to come into, and if you do break to the upside, I'm looking at that support there, taking that resistance 35k. Didn't come and retest that, so that will remain the plan for Bitcoin. But yeah, for the past few weeks now, I haven't really seen too much happen. So we'll wait for the breakout, then we can get some trades in either direction. Could be some nice longs from this support though, intraday perspective there. But yeah, that's about it for in that range. I'll keep it to just about the opportunity, the breakouts as where the real moves will be coming from for Bitcoin. So yeah, that will be the plan for Bitcoin until we get that breakout.
Okay guys, so that is the end of the video, unfortunately, but I hope you guys found it useful, enjoyed the video. If you are enjoying the content, please leave a like, subscribe, share. All of that does really help the channel out. If you have any questions, agree, disagree, or have any biases and opinions of your own, drop it in the comments. I am interested to find out. But yeah guys, hope you have enjoyed the video, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys next week. So have a good one.